This is crazy for me to say because of people who know me, they know my sense of urgency is through the roof. But you got to understand what I'm saying and absorb this and take a step back and think about it. And that is have patience with yourself. Because a lot of times I didn't have patience. I quit right before I was about to push through because I thought like, it should have happened already. So one is having patience. The other part is you got to be consistent.
All right, what's up and welcome to this podcast. We're going to be interviewing Ryan Overcash. I pronounced that the right way, right?
Yes, sir.
Such
Absolutely.
a cool last name. Like, what? I actually had to ask.
It's my real name.
Yeah,
it's
it
my
is.
real name, Josiah.
I was on the phone with him the other day, and I was like, I just want to update your last name. It's under Overcash right now, and he's like, bro, that's my last name. So just cool stuff. But Ryan's done some cool stuff. You've done a lot in wholesaling and real estate. But the most important reason that we're actually doing this interview is because what he knows about mindset. Him and I both believe that the mindset is the most important thing that you can train yourself on, because that just pours into every area of your life. How you work, how you manage relationships, your relationship with God, all of those things all comes down to your mindset and how you perceive life. And leveling up your mindset constantly is what you want to be doing in life, and you will never be fully a master of your mindset. So I love that he's humble. I love what he's sharing, and I love what we're doing together. So Ryan, I just want to kind of get into, before you became personally, I'm going to say an expert on mindset, because you really, I've heard what you have to say. You really have learned a lot, and it's the mistakes and the humbling lessons that have helped you get to where you are right now. But I would love to, everyone to know, like, you weren't always there. Like, what is your past? Like, tell me a little bit about your background, some of the struggles, and the adversity that you've faced that have brought you to this point where you have this mindset that you do.
Oh, lovely. I love that because I feel like my experience, my mistakes, my roadblocks, everything I went through is going to help somebody out there. And that's why I love talking about this. Not that I love talking about my mistakes, but I know there's value in it. So again, I think that's a really great way to start off. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, big time. And I've learned from them, and that's what's developed me to who I am now, just like anybody else. But I've been very intentional about changing who I am, changing how I was perceiving life, what I believed in, and my outlook, because I wasn't where I wanted to be. And I started to realize I'm not where I wanted to be because of me, not because of any other outside influence. I wasn't lucky enough. I wasn't born in the right family. I didn't have the right skin color, whatever that may be. All of that trash, all of that is lies. I grew up with a little bit of that in me. So, anyways, that's all stuff that you learn and you grow from. So, going back to your question and things like that, I always wanted better for myself from a young standpoint. So again, very blessed, and I thank God for designing me that way. But I kept causing my own issues, right? Like I said, I was my worst enemy. So I had the talent, I had the drive. I was the guy that always wanted better from the youngest of age. I recognized that. Grew up very poor. I know a lot of us have, but that was my story. Very, very, very poor. And a lot of my friends, most of my friends, I was the poorest out of all my friends. That's what I'm trying to say. So I saw and I witnessed what the other life was like, and at a very young age, I wanted better. I just knew it because of the household that I grew up in, a little different. The way I was raised, a little different, a little rough, but it made me much stronger in the long run, and made me a good person who I am today. So again, roundabout way of again, where what has transpired is I kept making mistakes. It kept throwing me off my goals, where I was heading, and I'm a very goal-oriented person. So I was living a contradiction, Josiah. I had goals and I had aspirations, and I knew I wanted to get to a certain level, and I would work towards that for a certain period of time, and then maybe I got bored, maybe I got complacent, right? The motivation died off because I didn't understand the difference between motivation and discipline. And when the motivation died off, I started getting myself in trouble, or I would just go down the wrong path, whatever that may be. So it finally blew up on me, right? I was living two different lives. My professional life was really taken off at Merrill Lynch. This is years ago. But my personal life, no one knew about. My personal life, I wasn't being a good person. I wasn't doing the right things. I was contradicting myself, and when those two intersected, it blew up. And what happened years ago, almost a decade ago, I got in trouble. Very reckless behavior. I take full responsibility for it, but had a little bit too much to drink. That's not the excuse. It was my choice to have those drinks, but it caused me to behave in a way that I'm not proud of till to this day, even though it was the best thing that could have happened to me. So I thank God for that all the time. It's cliche, right? It really is like, oh, the day I got in trouble, went to jail, I changed my life. That's what it took for me. I got in trouble. I committed a felony or multiple felonies. I got arrested. I had my rights taken away. I had my job taken away because I had licenses with Merrill Lynch, and you can't get any type of legal trouble. I got walked out of my campus. Right, the most embarrassing thing you could ever go through, or at least me. I had managers walk up to me and say, "Hey Ryan, I need you to lock up your drawer and walk with us." I had no idea what was going on. They pulled me into a room and they said, "Hey, we were made aware of what happened over the weekend because your licensing and because of the violent nature of your crime, you're no longer allowed to be here." Yeah, walk me out, dude. Like out of nowhere. Like, I mean, I did the crime, obviously, but like, I wasn't thinking I was like gonna lose my way of making an income. And I had to go face my wife and my two daughters with this and say, "Hey, guess what? Guess what? I got in trouble." So I had to go to jail. All right, when you go to jail, they tell you when you can eat. They tell you what you can eat. They tell you when you can shower. They tell you if you can shower. They tell you what you can wear. They tell you when you can talk and when you can't talk. Who you can eat, who you can't eat with. You have no rights. Talk about being humble. No, man, dude, you get brought down very quickly. And Josiah, I didn't fight it. I right away let go, succumbed, and said, "God, okay, whatever I've been doing is not working." Right? I recognize that. Like, look at this path. So, okay, God, I'm done doing it my way. I'll do it your way. And I made a change. I mean, overnight change. Now, there was a journey to get better. I still made some mistakes, but my mindset slowly started to change right there and say, "Okay, Ryan, you got to do things different. You got to go about life differently." And I started making plans on what I was going to do when I was, locked up, right? You don't have anything else to do besides read, sleep, stay out of trouble and plan what you want to do when you get out. So again, hopefully that answered your question, but that was the beginning really of, okay, dude, like this is real life, dude. Like time's ticking. You just had everything taken away from you, and that affected your family. And you know what? And to be honest, there was a victim in this, and I affected her friends, her family. I affected multiple lives, and that really that messed with me in a good way. Like I said, when I said earlier it was the best thing that ever happened to me, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I had to rebuild myself from the ground up, and I did that with God. Again, when I say rebuild myself, I'm meaning I had God's help, never on my own. But I had to rebuild myself and change who I was. Really, like I already said, I had to change the way I went about life, and that was the beginning of my road of, you know what? I am going to be nothing but a blessing to people. I am going to help people be better in life. I want to make up for all my mistakes, all my past transgressions, all the people I've hurt physically, emotionally, spiritually, everywhere. Like, I'm making up for that no matter what. And so I've been on a mission ever since November 23rd, 2014 to be the best version of Ryan Overcash that I could possibly be.
I love that, bro. That's so powerful because, I've had a lot of run-ins with the law, and throughout high school, I was either getting in trouble for underage drinking, drugs, curfew, which is a little bit smaller one. But my dad had to get pulled into the situation a lot when I would get caught and I wouldn't escape the cops. I was never doing anything too bad, but I was definitely a troublemaker and I was with the wrong people. But I think it's super powerful because it's so true that God is strongest in our weakness. He says in Scripture, it says He's strongest in our weakness, and you had a moment where you realized, hey, I'm weak without you, God. I need you, and that's where His transformation in you was the most powerful. Because for me, I got in trouble a lot, but it was the last time that it really clicked for me. We were doing a dine and dash. I was the last one to get caught. Super silly, but like my dad was just so over it that when he did have to come pick me up from the cops, this was the first time he didn't scream at me. He was silent. And I was just like, it hit me different, bro. It hit me different. And at that point I was like, I need to not cut out my friends completely. I need to love them from a distance. So that was the moment where I was like, hey, circle of influence is everything. It's been really pulling me down the wrong road. That's where I realized, I need to dive into my faith. I need to grow closer with God, and I need to let Him have a transformation. So I love that He transforms you through your weakness. You had some beliefs probably changed. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that. Was there any specific limiting beliefs that you had, like a belief that was a false belief that really shifted, and you're like, that was the wrong way to think. I can't think like that. Like for me, for example, it was that, like this is just who I am. Like it was my identity versus, hey, God can change my identity. I could change how I'm acting, who I'm hanging out with, and what I'm doing with my life. Give us an example of like a limited belief that you had to change that was an awakening moment that has helped catapult you into the moment and the life and mindset you have now.
No, that's huge, bro, and that's big. I was a complete different human being back then, and like you just helped me kind of go back to that with that question. I go, holy moly, I had so many limiting beliefs, so many, and so I'm trying to pick one, right? Like so, I had limiting belief that, just like what you said, this is who I am, right? I have been diagnosed, I'm super wide open, and I don't believe this label anymore because I've beaten it. Not that I don't believe that it's real, but I'll just spit it out. Bipolar. I've been diagnosed, and I was on medication for years for it. I worked my way off of it, and we can get into that a whole nother way, but that was an example of, oh, I'm bipolar. That's just how I respond this way. God made me this way. I'd even kind of hide behind that and just be like, well, this is who I am. So just deal with it, right? And I was in so much pain when I go through those. Again, for people who don't know, you're manic. You're very, very upbeat, and then out of nowhere, I could have the best day of my life, best week, best year. It doesn't matter. The next day, I wake up and I don't want to get out of bed. Not like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. Like nothing would make you feel good. Meaning. Have a magic wand. I got $1 million in my bank account right now. Still wouldn't change anything. I just wanted to go back to sleep. Like go back to sleep and wake up different. Because I didn't know what the heck it was, especially before I got diagnosed. I'm like, what is this? I grew up my whole life like that. But old school dad and mom was like, what's wrong with you? Right? Like fix it. Like you got to act right. Anyways, going back to where you're at, limited belief. So I thought that, hey, you know what? My responses to life is always going to be this. I'm always going to be aggressive. I'm always going to be intense in the wrong way, not harnessing my energy for good, right? Letting it take control of me and act that way out. This is even big because I've changed big time on this. I thought I was as smart as I was ever going to be. I thought that I cannot learn to be better. Like, at that age, I got arrested late in life, 34. I thought, hey, this is who I am. It's like kind of you're saying. Completely wrong. I revamped all of that. You can change who you are. You can change the way that you think. You can change the way that you go about life. And over time, you won't even realize that it happened until you look back and go, holy moly, look how much space that I put in between me and the old me. Crazy, dude.
That's good, bro. That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, for me, I had a similar belief, and it was that anybody who was smart or successful, I thought there was just something special. I thought it was you were born with that trait, and that was a huge one for me. I got F's in school. I was like, this is who I am. I'm just not smart. But the reality is they just teach everyone the same way in school, and some people have to learn differently.
Yes.
So that was one of my huge limiting beliefs. So I love that you pointed that out, because that was huge for me, is realizing I'm as smart as I want to be. I have to consume information that interests me, that's relevant, that I can use to benefit the future I'm trying to create for myself and my family. So that was huge for me. So I love that you went into that. So with that, you said that, when you were in prison, it really humbled you. What kind of lessons would you say or philosophies did you take when you were humbled? Because even God calls us in the Bible to be humble, and it's because we're no longer trying to justify, hey, I already know that, or I know what I need to know, or we have a closed mind because we think we know everything. We know those types of people who think who are know-it-alls, and they're not willing to learn new things and adopt new philosophies. So is there any specific lessons that you learned when you were humbled in that moment? Maybe not directly there, but maybe when you got home and you were like, hey, I don't know everything, I gotta learn. Is there anything that you can think of in aspects of humbling?
I think so. I think this will speak to it with what you're saying. This is what comes to mind at least. When you obviously get in trouble and have to go spend time behind bars, you're intermixed with other people, obviously, who've done crime. Not that I didn't do a real crime. I did a real crime and take full responsibility for it, but you're in with some people who have done some stuff that's like, holy moly, like my cellie right away. I got walked in, my cellie was in there going for a while. What was he? Kidnapping, armed robbery, like just things that I was like, holy moly, like right away when I got introduced, like this is who my cellie is. So my point, I'm getting to it. My point was, I over time you start getting to know these people, and they want help too. They want out, but they don't have the help that I had. They didn't have the foundation that I have. So meaning once my time was up, like I wasn't going back in there. I had someone who was going to pick me up. I had a cell phone that worked because right away when you get out, you have 24 hours to get in touch with your PO, like right away. And certain people, they didn't have a phone. Like you get released and they're like, they have the clothes they got arrested in, that's it. They don't have a phone. They got to repeat. They got to get back to their PO. There's certain things you got to do or you're right back in there. What I'm trying to say is the system is not designed to help people, to rebuild them and to get out. It's a trap. So what I started to see was, holy moly, I started to feel a lot more grateful. So that was my aha moment of just grateful for what the space that I was in. Like grateful for even getting in trouble. Like I'm serious. Like grateful that I met these people and had a different view on, like when some people in public just say, oh, I can't believe those guys do that. Why don't they want to help themselves? They want to. Some of these people are stuck in it because they can't get out of it. They want out. It's hard to make a change if you don't have the money, you don't have the friends, the resources. Once you get out of jail, whatever that is, a lot of these people get stuck. They're right back in there. And so again, I really realized that, you know what, God, thank you. I'm grateful for what I'm in. Even though I used to complain where I was at, I'm like, no, dude, I'm grateful. I was very humbled to know that I had friends, family, God, just resources to help me continue to be better and to move on. And I felt really bad for a lot of these people who were stuck in that system. And I actually helped some people get out. Whole nother story, but does that answer where you're getting at,
phenomenal.
Josiah?
Absolutely, dude.
That gave me a whole new perspective on. Again, I was a lot more grateful for where I was and what I was put through, as opposed to looking at other people being like, God, they had everything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, super grateful.
Yeah, bro. Because at the end of the day, what's crazy is the beauty of being humbled is that gratitude, because we've all been through struggles. What I thought growing up is that I was the only one going through struggles, but the reality is everybody does. So when you realize that, you stop thinking about how life's so unfair. It is unfair because we don't deserve the grace God has given us, and things could have been much worse. But when you come into it with an attitude of gratitude, you realize, hey, I could have been in jail for life. I could have, I could have died, or you just think of all the scenarios that could have happened, and you see just how grateful you should be, because things could have been much worse. Not to say that the struggle wasn't real, that someone didn't wrong you, or that things didn't end up super unfortunate, but at the end of the day, like, an attitude of gratitude will change all perspective, open the mind, make you more aware. So that was my takeaway from that. So you totally answered the question.
Big time.
So I would say, just to kind of trail on from that, what would you say has helped you the most in terms of your self-discipline? Like, self-discipline is huge, especially when you're trying to master the mind, get out of bad routines, bad habits. Were there any takeaways that you had where you were like, all right, I need to start doing this? Is there anything in the realm of self-discipline that really helped you to start taking control of your life?
Yeah, 100%. So a few things there. My oldest daughter and my wife, very, very disciplined in certain aspects of their life. So I caught on to that.
Yeah.
And I saw how it affected their lives, and all of our lives, with what they were doing. So I said, okay. Again, I'm a guy that learns by example quite a bit. I see somebody else doing things, and I see how that can apply in my life. But what really helped me with discipline was one, I recognized I wasn't where I wanted to be in life. And I recognized that was because of me. That was the next thing. Okay, I'm not where I need to be in life. I control that. I'm aware of that. And I started to explore, whether it was reading, looking at articles, explore how do I get there? And what I started finding out was with what you just said, every high performer, everyone that's made it in my eyes that I've said their background was they were all disciplined. And they were all willing to do the little things every day, no matter how they felt, and push through life. And I go, that's what was missing from me. So one, as I hired a coach, I believe accountability is huge. So my coach is Ben Newman. He's huge, and he's been a big piece of my life, and I always like to give him credit for that. And so I started following his program as far as developing the daily disciplines that I have to do. And that's where I created I took bits and pieces from everyone else that I've learned from. I've never made anything on my own. This is all borrowed, but I took stuff from Ben Newman, and then I also started off with Miracle Morning. And so I created a morning routine that really helped me build discipline and build rituals that were going to set my day up and set my life up for success.
That's really good, bro. That's really good. To continue with that, I would say, kind of like coming right off that topic, the morning ritual is huge. What you do in your morning and how you start your day is literally everything. You know this.
Yeah.
You say you wake up at like 3 a.m. sometimes.
3 a.m.
Insane. I used to do 4 a.m. Changed my life. It's been really hard to get back into that. But the whole overarching theme is like how you start your day is what shapes your mentality for that day. Am I going to be in reaction mode? Am I going to be proactive mode? Yeah, dude. It's like it chooses how you go throughout your day. So is there any tips that you would give someone for a morning ritual, maybe just the importance of it, why it's dramatically changed your life, or maybe even some things that you do in the morning that have really helped you create a better day?
Yes, no, great, dude, awesome. I truly believe in the morning rituals, and that's huge, morning routine. A few things, I'll kind of jump around here. So one is preparing. I'm really big in preparing, right? I always call it the Tom Brady effect. That guy is prepared for every scenario. So that starts the night before. Meaning, if I want to get up early in the morning, what are some things that are going to keep me from that? Or getting ready for the gym, right? And that sometimes you got to put your clothes out. I get my gym clothes, I set them out the night before. They're ready. I don't have to go looking for them. And my eyes see them when I'm, just getting ready for bed, walking in the bedroom. That's subconsciously telling me you're getting up in the morning, you're going to the gym, right? So that's one thing. Other thing is I have affirmations. They're called bedtime affirmations. Again, I got this from Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod. So there's affirmations that I read at night, and that just really puts that idea in my head. I'm getting up no matter what. And that's part of the line. It says, hey, I'm going to bed at X. I'm waking up at X. And I know right now that's more than enough sleep to have me energized and ready to go in the morning. Again, it's subconsciously saying, bro, you're getting up. Like, no worries. You're getting up. And then move your phone away from arm's reach, where you actually have to get up out of bed to go grab it. Because that gives you a few moments of consciousness to click and say, oh, I'm getting up right now. You're not staying in bed anymore. Because you're going to continue to push off your dreams, your goals, whatever you're trying to get to, if you don't take action immediately. So really what it is game planning. Take the obstacles out of your way. What's keeping you from doing whatever that is in the morning, right? And you gotta prepare yourself to set yourself up for success the best as possible.
That's so true, dude. That's huge. Morning rituals are everything. One for me I think it's what you do as well. I just try not to touch my phone in the morning. I just want at least 30 minutes where my mind can be created off my own actions and not reactive of what my clients have to say, what people are texting me, because one bad news report on an email or a text message or something you don't want to hear will kill my mood personally for the whole day. And I'll
put you in that fight or flight syndrome away in the morning.
Then you're stressed. Rather, I try to spend time in scripture, pray a little bit. I try to create the day I want by leaning on God, and I think that's the biggest foundational thing that I've done in my life. And I love those other rituals that you do. Those are super important. As we kind of wrap this up, I'm sure there's something that you wish you told yourself when you were younger. I'm sure there's a list of things actually.
Jeez, bro,
But,
I think about that quite a bit.
Dude, me too,
about that
all the
quite a
time.
bit.
So what is one thing that you would tell yourself that would help you avoid some of the mistakes that you've made, or even get more momentum at the age that you're already at?
Yeah, dude. It's like, which one do I pick?
100%.
But what sticks out to me quite a bit, and this is crazy for me to say because of people who know me, they know my sense of urgency is through the roof. But you got to understand what I'm saying and absorb this and take a step back and think about it. And that is have patience with yourself. Because a lot of times I didn't have patience. I quit right before I was about to push through because I thought like, it should have happened already. So one is having patience. The other part is you got to be consistent. I know that sounds obvious, but you have to be consistent. That means living it day in, day out, 7 days a week. For those of you that turn it off Friday at 5 p.m., whatever, and don't turn it back on to Monday, you're disconnecting in those couple days. Monday, it takes you all day Monday to catch back up. You're losing a lot of momentum. You're losing a lot of ground of where you could actually be ahead. So have patience with yourself. Be super consistent and lock in every day. It's not going to kill you, man. You don't lock in every day. You get to my age and look back, you're going to be like, what was I doing? What in the world am I doing? You are doing amazing things. You're in your 20s, right? Amazing things. There are so many people in their 20s these days doing amazing things because they took action. They're not sitting on the sideline. So the last thing I'll say is take action. Take imperfect action. Stop waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. There never is. That's one of the biggest things I get a little excited that bugs me as far as excuses. Like, I am a non-excuse person. No nonsense, no excuse, no reasons for me. I own it. So you need to either own what you're doing or do something different and make a difference.
That's so good, bro. It was so nice to have you. You guys, like, if you were impacted today, all we ask is that you share it. You can follow him at the hashtag or the @ name below. Thank you guys so much for watching. It was an honor to have you, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Man.
And this
Always.
is the first of many,
Yes,
for sure.
I can't wait for the next one.
Yes. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you.
Let's go! What's on that? Oh, sorry. She hates that for sure.